chapter 15, if you want to follow along quickly as I am walking through this. Starts on page 80, and I just quickly want to show you this map that I gave you on the summary page, Google Doc for chapters 12 through 14. You'll see right here that this is currently where they are. So what they've done, I'll move the map over so you can see. They started way up here. And so they really have made a long ways. Here's St. Louis, where they were early on in the chapters. This is where they saw that crashed houseboat. And then now they're getting close to Cairo. And what their ultimate goal is to find the mouth of the Ohio River so then they could stop going south and then hit the North States and just travel along the North States, hoping to get all the way up here in Cincinnati. We'll see if that happens or not. There's a little hint if you take a look down that in Memphis, and you see chapter 24, they're all the way down in Memphis. So a little hint as to where this book is going. But back to chapter 15, one of the things that you need to know is what a towhead is, because if you just look that up in the dictionary, it's going to tell you like it's a little blonde kid. But in this book, what it is it's like a little island on the river that has an abundance of trees. And the word towhead keeps coming up throughout this chapter because they're looking for an island or a sandbar that has a lot of trees so they can tie up to a sturdy tree because they're entering this really thick fog. And what happens is due to the fog, and then they hit some high currents, and then Jim and Huck get separated. And due to the thickness of the fog, they can no longer find each other, and they're kind of like whooping back and forth so they can hear each other. And then eventually they just get separated too much that they can't even hear each other anymore. So Huck decides, well, I better just get some rest, and when the fog clears, we'll figure out where we are. We'll eventually meet up on the river, is what he's thinking. So he falls asleep and he wakes up, and when he wakes up, him and Jim are kind of floating down the river next to each other again, and Jim is really excited. He's super thankful that he didn't lose Huck. He considers Huck a friend. Well, Huck plays this prank on him and says, what are you talking about? What fog? We never got separated. What are you talking about, Jim? And so then Jim starts to think, because Jim's really gullible, that he dreamed that whole thing. He dreamed getting separated. He dreamed of this thick fog. So he starts analyzing this dream, thinking, what could this mean? This is bad foreshadowing for our trip to the Free States. And then Huck says, oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. After Jim starts to say things like, come on, Henrik, let me be quiet. Starts to say things like, wait, why is all this mud on the river and all this stuff? And or on the bottom of the boat. And then Huck's like, oh, I was just kidding. What do you want, Henrik? Here. Go lay on the couch. Sorry. And so when Jim finds out that Huck had been messing with him, it really hurt his feelings. And he's like, I can't believe you would treat your friend that way. And then he goes in the wigwam that's on the raft. And then at the end of the chapter, Huck ends up apologizing because he feels really bad. Again, don't forget to use the translation on SparkNotes if you're having a difficult time understanding Jim's dialect in the book. That will really help you. Okay, that concludes chapter 15. I will be starting chapter 16 soon. Have a good day.